Hallo und herzlich willkommen zum Auf die Fresse, wie WXW Review Podcast in English. I'm Ian Hamilton, joined as always by Mike Kilby. And Mike, if this weekend wasn't a home run, then WXW weren't that far off clearing the fence.
Yeah, they pretty weren't far away from knocking it out of the park. I think as I would say. Yeah, it was a really good sort of two shows that we're going to go through today. I think it's effectively the last stop, barring untaped things. It's the last stop before 16 Carat Gold, and set up some interesting things, I think, for sure. And we've finally got our full field, which is really exciting.
Yeah, we'll go through those 16 names in a bit, but if you're downloading this, day one, day two, you're wondering, it's Monday, it's Tuesday. These shows were Friday and Saturday. Well, WXW did it again. These shows were streaming near live. They put the Fight Forever pre-show stuff up dead early, then they split the shows into two. So if you wanted to be honest, you could watch first half while the second half was going on. I think both nights I was done by about 11, which, considering, the flip side's like what, Wednesday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, for these to be uploaded. If you're okay for German commentary, you get these virtually live, which, when you consider some promotions are still sticking to recording on DSLRs and releasing a week or two down the line, WXW is really getting the times, and it's massively appreciated, especially when the stuff that we're going to be covering is this damn good. But so they've got two shows, Dead End and Road to 16 Carat Gold. We'll start with Dead End. So this was from the Market Hall in Hamburg. Crowd about 550, which is massively up from the crowd I had last time out in August. I don't know, you're not going to go through every match, at least in detail, but just hitting off results. So pre-show, Yochin Tatsuya Hanami beat Nick Shrine and Ilya Bloom, which find out would set up the next night. But yeah, so Hanami, he's a former tag champion in Active Advanced 2AW Wrestling in Japan. I believe a Irie trainee and looked pretty good, but Yoichi, we've seen with previous outings, back to the roots, and also we've seen with GWF and maybe Progress. Big Bruce, who maybe not quite as frequently featured here, but definitely sticking out in WXW.
Yeah, he's a good sort of change of pace, really. I think, isn't he? I remember you sort of saying the night of that show. I was a day behind on all of this, but I remember you saying like they need to do Ilya Bloom versus Yoichi over Carrot Weekend, and then we ended up getting it the following night.
Yeah, well, mix my words up. I said Carrot Weekend, they said for Carrot Weekend. Potato, two completely different veg, but yeah, it was a pretty good pre-show match. It's up on their YouTube for free, so if you just want to dig in and see if it's worth your while, jump in. Main show started off with a 16 Carat Gold qualifier, so we had two of these in Hamburg. Lawrence Roman beating Bobby Guns in just under 10 minutes. And that means this is the first time since 2018 Bobby Guns won't have been in the tournament or had a major role over Carat Weekend, which, bad result. It shouldn't, but definitely raised my eyebrows given the, I don't know if you want to say conspiracy theories we've had around Bobby Guns for the last little while, but certainly makes sense storyline wise. But in terms of it, the glaring obvious name missing, Bobby Guns certainly the second one who not playing any part this coming Carat season.
Yeah, I mean it's not as if he's not here. Like Tisha, he's doing Ambition, so they're both going to be there for that. He's obviously got the super fight, hasn't he?
Against Mudo, yeah.
Yeah, so it's not as if he's not going to be there. But yeah, it is very weird. It's kind of a weird sort of drop of form. Say kind of sort of ungracefully dropped the belts over on the second day of Tag Fest, and kind of hasn't really done very much of any. He's had some very good matches, but not really done anything else of any real substance since. So yeah, very strange, and I'm intrigued to see what does happen with him. Whether he is just limited to the ambition show remains to be seen. But yeah, a bit of an odd. But then the roster is so large at the moment, especially with the number of imports that are coming in. I don't know where you would fit him in.
I mean, this show alone, basically Dead End and Road to Carrot were basically two different rosters. And you think of this weekend, no Axel Tischer at all.
No
No,
Jan
but
Simmons.
no Yearn. I mean, no, there's a name who's not been numbered. Again, we can get that when we do the Carat names. Um, yeah, that was a big surprise. And we'll touch on Lawrence Roman for pretty much since the summer. They've been planting the seeds of there's been the aggravation of him and Robert Dreisker and Amboss. The need like you cost us with tag titles. You when was it over? When Roman lost the shotgun belt, or had to defend the shotgun belt over Carat over Tag League, and there's that whole thing. You didn't have to defend it. You're stupid. Why defend belt when we lost it? Oh, you should have used the champ's advantage. You should have taken the count out. That kind of thing. Even though it flew square in the face what Amboss were going for, Roman's always been the runt for it, for want of a better word. And with
Yeah,
Dover being gone, he's the guy who's the default one being picked on. So we're definitely putting a lot of seeds down for Roman potentially turning on Dreisker. We said in the last episode, Irie's the first one up. Peter Honey, is the obvious one. Roman maybe third in line. So it's not like we're doing a challenge of the month stuff, and it's no case of if it's going to be one of those three, you don't know which one, which is always the best.
yeah,
Where you're sowing that much stuff. Any of them could deliver. Or Robert Rice could just blitz through and Saturday morning who's going to beat him. But after the match, we had Icarus speaking Van Boss attacking Bobby Guns. Youngblood, that's Oscar Newt Nakashima, came out to make the save. And the scheduled Dreisker and Icarus against Youngblood main event was changed get to Amboss, so Lawrence Roman doing double duty against Youngblood and the Mysterious X, which we'll get to later on. Next up, rotation beating Leighton Buzzard to retain the shotgun title. And I'm not going to paraphrase, but Leighton Buzzard, since he's had that Japan run, he's come back a different wrestler.
yeah. He's like 3 times the wrestler he was before. To be honest, I wasn't overly bothered by him prior to now. I think he was always a bit of a. I think he's basically gone out there and he's got sort of knee deep in it all, and he's just really he's improved like sort of leaps and bounds. He's come in here and he's had over the course of the weekend. Obviously, we'll speak about the next one later on, but he had basically 2 very decent matches, different types of matches as well. And also he, outside WXW, he kind of he had a decent show in a Rev Pro, I think, the week before. So yeah, he's really sort of kicked it up a gear, really. I think remains to be seen if anything sort of happens with his stablemate Tempesta in WXW. It'd be interesting to see if that ever becomes a thing. I mean, I would say it would make sense, but we don't
We've
know.
done weirder things, even if it's just like I would say throwaways derogatory, but even it's like put on one of the Wheel of Wrestling kind of shows.
Yeah,
I'm not saying to make numbers, just like wheel them out. You can have Met making the comment. They've been a team in Japan. That kind of thing. I was looking up at Leighton's cage match, and I think the main thing here is it's the reps. Like last year, he did again. This is cage match, so could well be stuff not listed. 109 matches last year.
yeah,
2022, 57. And next highest after that was just before COVID, 49 in a year. So if he's went from pretty much working once a week to not only twice a week. And
yeah,
grant a lot of this is you look at the cage match, we've got like the heat map thing. It's that back end of the year is like 12 matches September, 19 October. But
yeah.
again, it's funny, everyone's say this with the young ones coming up. You get reps in, you get better. If you're just doing one show a month, it's going to take a lot longer for you to get good if you do.
But yeah, you look at the people who only work the academy, and then you compare them to the ones who work the academy, but then they also go work in every other company they can.
Mm-hmm.
They're better. They end up better workers. Simple fact.
And this one, so this was rotation's second defense after Jordan Oliver back to the roots. And I'll say things one of those where Buzzard, I don't again, it was still a matter, it's too early in rotation's reign to lose the belt to a on the day challenger for that kind of thing. But again, Buzzard got a lot. And no, he's been around WXW a lot. Granted, you have a time in Japan. They're keeping him around for a reason, I've got to think.
Who WXW keeping
But they're
Buzz
Leighton
for?
around, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you can understand
Yeah,
for
I
the
think.
London show last year, but to actually fly him over to Germany for visiting me, I'm not saying we could have placed him with anyone, but the fact that they made the choice to bring him over, when they
Well,
literally could have had anybody else.
it'd be a valuable person to have around Carrot Weekend. I don't know if he is booked anywhere else over that weekend, but it'd
Not
be
that I've seen.
valuable. It'd be a valuable person to have around, in the replacement four-way perhaps. So he's the sort of person who, because he's not done any qualifiers, he's the sort of person who would be valuable in that sort of position, I think.
Absolutely.
And I would think he would justify it as well.
And moving on, I guess I wouldn't say we can have split decisions on, but so Nikita Krizman, Mikhail Schenkenberg, Rottenflot against High Perform Limited's Tristan Archer, Anil Marek. So the storyline going in on the Shotgun vlog was Rottenflot wanted a rematch with two referees to get a shot for tag titles. So we had Ryan Ring and Tassel Luke Young as the refs, and the ring match started out fine, but then, not putting review, they got way too cute with this. So they did the whole
Yeah,
thing
I
of,
feel like it just completely fell apart really halfway through.
yeah, I mean, we did the stuff where referees task on the outside, spots some cheating, spots, was it Charisma, hugging the rope for a pin early on, that's the kind of thing to get for, hey, there's another ref, you're not going to get away with it, and then it just really fell apart at the end. The father got caught cheating, he got ejected, then you had the refs being pulled out, and the finish was both refs missed low blows, two roll ups, and then apparently it's a draw, even though one of the two pins were between the legal men of the match. So, yeah, I don't get. I know why we did it. We're doing a draw. It looks like we're going to get a free way for titles, but yeah,
Yeah.
the match itself was good, but the last little bit was just, yeah, not good. Like, it ticked the boxes, but
Yeah.
watching it was just like, what the hell's gone on here? We went, okay, it didn't land.
No, and it was very confusing. Like I remember messaging you halfway through, and I was like, "Is there a stipulation in this I don't understand?" And I think obviously there was a bit of a language barrier thing there potentially, but I just didn't really understand what was going on with this match at all. I think it's potentially, at least so far, probably the worst WXW match of the year. I know we're only on the second show of the year effectively here, but I thought this really was really messy, overbooked for no real reason, and it was like the bloody third match on the card. It didn't need to do this, basically.
I think if
Yeah,
you
didn't
want
love this
if
at
you
all.
wanted to do this, you do it in the second half of the show. But yeah,
Yeah,
again, you're looking at the rest of the show very tag heavy. Second half you had two tag matches. So do you move the tag title match in the first half, and then you'll be kind of giving away? No, it's not title. No, you're not getting a title change. Do you move what was originally going to be Igor Blanc, Peach Tahani into the first half? I think it was probably one of
yeah.
those. Storyline wise, it hit the beats. The execution of it just didn't land, and yeah, it's one of those things. You could have cut out 2 3 what they did and gotten the same result. I don't want to compare this to the New Japan main event from yesterday, but kind of a similar idea where you had a lot of ideas, you just didn't have to do all of them.
Yeah, too many ideas and nothing to stick them all together, really. I think that's possibly the issue with it.
So moving on from one match which didn't land to one but absolutely did. Mike
Yeah.
DeVecchio beating Leon Slade from just over 10 minutes. This was a Carat qualifier. And I tweeted out they slept walks through Kraken, which may sound a bit derogatory, but 10-minute sprint. You had these guys, and I'm not saying they went all out, but you had the power crowd eating out the palm of their hands. And I think we were both eating out of their hands while watching on the screen when we sat down to watch it. 10-minute sprint, and if they want to run this back anywhere, anytime, I'm absolutely not going to say no to that. I mean,
I think Mike D just doesn't have a sort of slowdown switch. He's just always, I think he's 100% wherever he works, and Leon Slater has the same thing.
Yeah.
So in a way, this was. I'm delighted this was only a 10-minute match, because I'm not sure if they'd got it would gone any longer. It might have been a bit into the realms of silly, but it was good, silly in a good way. I think it was completely insane. Some of the spots in the match. I felt that Mike D's size kind of made Slater look a bit normal. If that sort of makes sense. There was no. I feel like because this was Slater's proper debut in WXW, because it was proper debut in WXW, I kind of felt like they just kind of put Mike in with a smaller guy, and there was never I feel like they probably would have benefited from Leon maybe having a couple of matches before this weekend, just so people they can establish him as, okay, this is what this guy is all about. I know
To be
in
fair,
Britain
Leon did get a good crowd reaction. I think I do kind of agree with the way you're going. I do think the big limit
Leon is
of it.
big with people who know.
Yeah.
Leon is big with people who know, but I still think the people who know is a significantly smaller population than the people that don't know, if that makes sense to you
Yeah.
there.
I mean, the GCW stuff would have only gone so far, and that's probably the biggest exposure you had. The one thing I would say to this, though, is, we've both been to Hamburg. That is a very compact venue, and there was one spot in this match where Leon was teeing up for the, the old giant smile over ring post dive. It's like, where are you going to land this, mate?
Where's he going? Yeah.
I'm not saying that's not. I won't say that's a signature spot, but it's like you come for that, and okay, well, Mike G just walks away from it. But that, and I guess Bielefeld as well would have been the same problem. The venues were just too close to the ring, where the big eye catching move you'd do can't really get away with doing unless you're going to have him eat shit and take out half a crowd with him.
Yeah, exactly. As I say, I think there was a few sort of structural issues with it in that sense, and I feel that it definitely. I think even if you'd had a video before the match, and it sort of showed off, like, Leon, this is what Leon's all about. I think a lot of people went into this blind, and I don't, not to say that Leon needs anything to sort of get him over, because the first time I saw him, I was like, holy cow, look at this guy. But I feel that because Mike D is such an impressive specimen as it is anyway, it kind of weakened sort of the initial impact of Leon Slater in this match. That's just my view on it. But I do agree, though. I think it is probably one of the best that the company's put on so far this year.
I do think as well with Mike D, he's very much like the European Jeff Cobb. In you look at him, you see his size, think, oh, power wrestling. Then you see him doing flips off the top rope. It's like, that ain't fair.
yeah, that's the sort of thing you're looking at with him for sure. And obviously Mike D gets the win, and obviously gets into Carat, and I think that's considering this time last year Mike D was not even in Carat. He was obviously a replacement 2 days before. I think he might have even been on the day before in a circle.
It was pretty close. Yeah, pulled out the appendix. Yeah.
So there's been a talk about a rapid ascendancy in 12 months, less than 12 months.
And this isn't even a guy who I would say is even regular on the roster. Like, he's on all the big shows, but like in terms of show in, show out, I won't. He's not quite a regular. But hey, is Strongman and Cowd this year? Who knows? I mean, we've certainly seen. We'll get on too late in the show. Names would have fallen off, so it can easily go both ways. But moving on to second half of the show, so we had Cash and Hector beating Fast Time Mover and Stephanie Mays to retain the tag titles. Swiss one getting set up on the Shotgun vlogs. Stephanie Mays came back a few months back, have a successful tag with Mudo. One to become 3-time tag champs because Steph never officially lost the belts. But yeah, this one didn't quite work out, and again, Hamburg not really big fans of Fast Time Mudo, and yeah, I do think now you've say it again.
he got booed, didn't he?
Well, I would say there's a small minority, it's a growing section of the crowd now, but I think at this point, you've done the obligatory, hey, we're back as a team, let's have try and get the belts back. I think now you've got to pull the trigger on him. He's done the dickhead heel character elsewhere in Germany. You've got to give it a go because at the very least you can't portray him as the happy-go-lucky martial arts guy you've been doing because the crowd are slowly turning him for one reason or another. So
Yeah, I mean,
you
I
resist
think
or you lean into it, I guess.
the thing is, if he turns on Steffi now, then basically all he's done for the past year is just turn on partners.
Yeah.
And that's fair enough. I mean, there was a bit of niggle between him and Bobby, which is obviously going to be the super fight this year. What comes out of that, I'm interested because I think there's room for that to grow into something quite good potentially. But yeah, like you say, pull the trigger on him. But I don't know what his ceiling. I don't know. I don't see him going for the world title. But who knows, really?
Well, strange things have happened. I mean, this time, not just about this time last year, Lavagno's world champion, but yeah, see how it goes. But I do think with Mood over time has come, and he's gone as far as he can in his current iteration. But
Did Mudo do a qualifier? I can't remember.
let me do the thing everybody loves and clack away on cage match. But
I don't think he did.
he didn't.
So I
And
suppose he's somebody you can whack in the alternate for. I suppose, can't you?
oh no, he did have a qualifier. This is way back at Tag Festival, losing to Luke Jacobs.
Oh, there we go then. Okay, so then maybe not then. All right.
So now got that cleared up. Next up, so originally we mentioned this was meant to be Igor Blanc against Peach Tahani. Tahani pulled off the shows this weekend for illness. And we had the return of Metahan to WXW for this. And yeah, I would say this for me started well. It almost threatened to have flashes of the old Lucky Kid / Metahan before he went to NXT. Then it just never ended.
Yeah.
Like,
I feel like that's 8 minutes in. I was like, yeah, I'm liking this. And I think, like you say, it just kept on going and going and going and going. And I don't know whether it was they'd maybe had something planned for this match where it was going to go long, but it just didn't. It didn't really. Say Menahan had half a decent match in there, but it kind of didn't pull it over the line. I think, as we would say.
yeah. So I looked on Cage Match to see, because obviously Metahan hasn't been in WXW since last summer. They lost the Tag Festival qualifier to Rotten Flot. He hasn't been working that much. Like he's done a few. He used to be the GWF World Champion. I'm not talking since last August. No, it's been once, twice a month. No, against.
I mean, he was signed to AAA, wasn't he? So
Yep, if we're going about, we're looking
German
like
AAA.
not the problematic Conan one, but Joey Cabrera. There's a name we didn't expect to hear in this pod. Chris Colin in the GWF title. Then the 4-way in November he lost to Mike D. And then it's just been like I don't say random matches, but certainly it's like this past weekend, beat lost to my Igor Blanc. Then the next night in Kiel, beating Mikhail Schenkenberg for the Yawara title. Like I've heard promotion's name, but I guess it was a GWF kind of offshoot. But you're just seeing like again, I know we've kind of taken shots. Like 2 weeks, a week ago, he's in GWF reuniting with Rohan Raja for the NXT UK tag team against Sunshine Machine. Like it just doesn't feel like there's anything. I don't say coherent, but it just feels very rudderless. Like when he came back to WXW, we did.
He's not got his feet under the table anywhere.
No, like he did have the big run with the world title run in GWF, but even then, that was again looking here. Beat Pascal Spalter in July and lost belt in November. So again, GWF aren't exactly renowned for long title runs, but just in any way, it always just feels like I think we kind of said this he's the big overarching storyline of this podcast, the threat of NXT Europe. It does feel like with Metahan that some have looked at him as, if NXT Europe starts, he's going to be signed, and he's been one of those where it's been
Which
kind
it
of
won't.
no. I mean, we've gone for over reasons, but it does feel like there's still maybe that overarching thing of, we don't want to get too invested in case somebody pulls the trigger and this magic's up. I mean, they've got bigger fish to fry right now. That's pretty much all we
Well,
probably.
I would say probably Metahan is probably one of the few who kind of he set out on purpose. He sat out and maybe at the side on purpose. I think because he doesn't want to get involved anyway. I mean, the reality is that if Metahan really wanted to, work the way he worked, 5 years ago, it seems mad to be saying that, but like 5-6 years ago, if he wanted to start working that sort of speed, he completely had. He's not had any serious injuries, has he? Can't think of
Not
it.
from where, and again,
Not that springs to mind. And it's like if he wanted to work that sort of style, he could. If he wanted to go, if he wanted to put bloody 8 months into Rev Pro, he could probably end up in bloody New Japan. Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
And it's like
And
I
before,
appreciate he's got a young family, but
and again before the WWE thing, he was starting to break out in the UK. Not
yeah.
with any kind of consistency or frequency. Like before
What?
COVID, he was getting.
Well, Schadenfreude, wasn't it? So
Yeah, like
yeah,
he was on the last Ring of Honor UK shows before they went belly up. Again because of the Schadenfreude connection. So again it's that whole thing of maybe connections aren't there as much because Schadenfreude is now dispersed all over the world, but you still got promoter connections. So I guess it's that whole thing of, I don't want to say it's, does he want it, but you certainly have to think coming out for NXT UK and not exactly pulling up any trees. Has that been the way that have gone through the Enfield system and you've come out like this, slow it down, get your longevity, and maybe not in a top spot? I mean, we've mentioned for others, you start too hot, burn out bright, and then where do you go? So maybe it's a work smarter, not harder kind of thing.
yeah. I don't know. It's entirely possible he's just got completely different priorities in life now, and that's maybe taken it over. But I just feel like it seems like such a waste, really, for him to be not doing anything.
But so again, Eagle Blanc getting the win. This again was meant being like a Carat preview match. So yeah, it's a win over this former 16 Carat Gold winner, which I don't think they made too much of a deal with because obviously, they retconned Lucky Kid when he renamed. But big win. Even the match itself was a bit. The main event, we had Amboss Icarus, Robert Dreisk, and Lawrence Roman against Youngblood and surprise Chikahiro Irie. And yeah, I mean, Irie being X, maybe not quite as much surprise, although I think when we were speaking earlier today, you would maybe thinking Irie would be against Eigel. But one big takeaway from me in this, Oscar, wrestling the Mark for the first time, completely swallowed up Irie in this. Like hometown crowd,
Yeah,
I mean, it's obvious and expected, but I was surprised by how much.
yeah. I think. Well, we've said it before, but like Oscar is a prodigious talent. I think he's got the ability to be the best thing that Europe ever produces, and I don't say that quite lightly. And this is somebody who left WXW. I mean, he'd impressed when he left, but he'd left WXW sort of almost under the cover of darkness in a way, really, didn't he? But he made such an impact in such a short time. And now he's come back from Japan, where he'd obviously impressed the world effectively, and he's come back as a sort of returning hero, and he's just pulling it out of the bag.
Yeah.
He's just completely pulled it out of the bag, and he's got everything going for him. Everything's right for him. I've not seen any of his stuff from Southampton, but if we include both tag team matches he had for WXW this past weekend, plus the Rev Pro tag team match at the 229. He's 3 for 3 for 3.5 plus sort of matches. So that's against some very, very different different wrestlers in every single one. So he's really, really sort of come on. I didn't think sorry about that noise. I didn't think he needed to improve much in the first place, but he's come back and he's 3 times the wrestler. It's like when we produced him at this club. We've sent him out and he's come back on loan again, and he's 3 times the player. He's incredible.
Yeah, looking at when he left in 2022.
The hot tag in this match.
Oh, I mean,
yeah,
they built up and they knew. You made comparison for Pro thing, the Road Warrior style they were doing with him and you. So this was, you have that Road Warrior pop for a hot tag, and it's very rare you get that in wrestling these days. And it's obviously it's not going to be Hamburg all the time, but they knew they had something special the first time around. And yeah, I don't know how long it's going to be here for. I mean, ideally, if they've got him at least till the end of the year, that's a hell of a tag festival run right there you've got.
Yeah, I mean, I think the other thing is that they've justified the way that, and I would say Yuto as well, they've come in and the way they've presented themselves, they just look fantastic. They look really, really good, and they're working in such a smart way. They're not selling for things they don't need to. They're both also, because they're young, they're cocky lads. They just have such a swagger about them, which makes them such a engaging sort of pair to watch. And it's really come across. And Irie's not no shrinking violet, but they basically overshadowed Irie, who's the number 1 contender for the title. Yep. So
this one, this and the Mike D. Leon Slade match, but 2 you absolutely need to go off your way to see.
Yeah, for sure.
So guess move on, because the next night they went over to Bielefeld. I think this one was sold out 2 months in advance, I think they said.
Yeah, very quickly.
Which, that's always, not from me sniffed at for Seb Holmichael, but again, we had this was done near live, so you had the pre-show match up first, then part 1, part 2. Opening with rotation beating Tatsuya Hanami to retain shotgun belt. It was fine, nothing much to take away, but again, it's defense is under his belt, and rotation would be back on the show a bit later on. But this was the show they had 2 Road to 16 Carat Gold qualified tournaments. One we knew the names, the other one we didn't. So Block A, we had Maggot beating Lavaniel in just under 8 minutes, which, so Lavaniel, of course, turned on Jörn Simmons back at Anniversary. Maggot seems to be the guy who's getting the brunt of it in Jörn's absence. Lavaniel did a jump start, count for not me, and Maggot, dispatched in short order. Yeah, we'll come back to this one because we're still picking the finals. The other one then, of course, was Icarus beating Yuto Nakashima. A little bit short, I mean, it was a 10-match card, so you weren't going to get too much going long. But yeah, I would say with this one, if they want to run this back on Ambition, I know we've already got the super fight, but we have been on to a second, like it was a fight for future, something like that. Wouldn't be against it, but yeah, I think out of 2 Block A matches so far, just about shade. But anything on those, or want to just keep plowing on with the Block B stuff?
I think we'll keep playing. Well, I think sort of the I think Maggot Lavaniel was just a bit. It was a bit of a waste of time, really. I think it's when Lavaniel's sort of jump at the start, they don't really play on it. That's kind of a bit pointless. Obviously, I come back to it later on. Although I do agree with you there. I think Icarus Yuto was a sort of very smart sort of little match, but like you say, it was a little bit too short. But with the amount of matches on the card, and I think tournament, we say going into the biggest tournament in Europe, but tournament wrestling can sometimes be a bit of a slog. So yeah, you don't want to be sort of wearing out people with 15-minute matches earlier on. But I would have quite happily have sat and probably watched 15 minutes of these 2.
Absolutely. And again, we've got plenty of shows over Carat weekend, so who knows? Block B, this was entirely unannounced, so this was kind of like potluck. Aaliyah Bloom beating Alex Duke in the first the semi-finals in Block B. Yeah, I thought this was fine. Again, Bloom is the star prospect of the academy, so you kind of expected he was going to be in and around there. Other semi-final was Yoichi beating Norman Harras. And all I'm going to say is, Norman was main event of night 2 of Carat last year. And as it stands now, he's not even around that weekend. At least his name's not certainly
So
being thrown
Bobby
around yet.
Guns. So
Yeah,
Bobby Guns.
that main event, I want to say being retconned, but not Jörn Simmons either.
Yeah.
Part of that. Have they just
Meta
airbrushed out
Handling.
that entire match?
Well, I rated
Sadako,
it
who's
quite
it?
highly, but
Yeah, well, oh god, who else? Oh, I'm drawing a blank.
Rambo was in it.
Rambo. Oh god, I'm
Lavagno.
Levan. People are going to be yelling at me for this one. Um, God, who was it?
Zafar Amin was in it.
So far, I mean, yeah, I think, yeah. So pretty much everyone in that main event not be seen. Like
Yeah.
that just blows my mind. It's not like there's been massive roster turnaround. Like most of those guys have been around on shows. It just them being front and center. The headline act to you need a search party. That blew my mind when I realized that. But yeah, so yeah, one thing as you pointed earlier, I was hoping for Leo and Yoshi over Coward Weekend. Well, we're getting to be part of Coward Weekend in the block finals. Going to the halftime interval, we had Mike Diveco and Igel Blanc beating Leighton Buzzard and Oscar. Buzzard, of course, subbing for Oscar, subbing for Peach Tahani, and this was a fucking spot fest. A nice preview for the Lucha Six Man tag's been having a
Yeah.
couch, and this was absolutely bonkers.
It felt very much that sort of thing. Yeah, it was like the night three sort of palate cleanser sort of match. It was really, really good fun. Like I say, I think well, I don't want to repeat too many of the talking points. Leighton Buzzard's really Leighton Buzzard's still good. Oscar is great. Mike D's intense, and Igla Blanc's looking good for Carrot. I don't want to repeat too many points.
Not going no, this is all big old paraded moves I like to call, but the end was like Buzzard missing a 450, Mike D missing a shooting star press, Igla Blanc gets his for win. It's like not for win but for knee fall. It's like you've just got I've never seen Leighton Buzzard do a 450, let alone miss one. Mike D, we know he can flip, but it's always like the Brock Lesnar WrestleMania 19 stuff when he does like what the hell are you doing? Oh, that kind of stuff. And obviously, Igel Blanc, a lot more proficient in the air. Did he say Igel's got a new finisher just in time for Count the Desert Eagle?
Yeah, quite interesting.
I mean, certainly coming out of Kefik Schlacht, and I know Joseph Fennick Jr. was one of those not on every show before then. Igel's definitely one who's been getting some, I don't say under the radar stuff because he's getting the big wins, but he's absolutely getting a lot of wins in the build up to Carriage, and it wouldn't surprise me if he makes the final day. But again, that's
he's a
something to go in the preview when we do that later this month. Early today, well, big air quotes there. Backstage promo we had building up to, I guess live was advertised as a bonus match, but Robert Dreisker up against Cash Hector and Irie. Of course, Icarus was in the Carat tournament. Lawrence Roman was busy elsewhere. So Dreisker needs new tag partners, and High Perform Limited, which set up some really interesting interactions later on. Back from interval, we had another 16 Carat Gold qualifier. This wasn't a tournament, so when Baby Allison she joined High Performer Limited at Back to the Roots, her signing bonus was a one-off Carat qualifier. In the build-up, Robin Christopher Forwerk hyped her up as a TV star because very timely. Baby Allison's documentary was on RTL. It was about a week or two before this, so very timely. Legitimate. It's not buried away on some streaming service if you're on the right channel. And yeah, I mean, I saw this match years back in Essen, back before Stephanie Mays was really. I think it might have been Stephanie Sky back then. But yeah, so Stephanie Mays was the surprise opponent, and this was a lot more even than I expected. Storyline, you think, oh, Baby Allison signed for High Performer, she's going to
She could
be
be
given a big
cheating, yeah.
push. And quite the opposite, like she wanted to be, straight laced, Forwerk slid a cane in, she pushed it out. Um, there was a bit, I think it was pretty early, it was a kick to the head from Mays, which just seemed to shake up Allison and she carried on the match, but then at the end, sat down on the outside after the finish. But yeah, Baby Allison not in Carat, so things not going to plan early on. Skyfall kick means Stephanie Mays is the third woman to ever work Carat weekend, and yeah, think twofold. One, with Baby Allison, I'd say rehab at the changing fortunes isn't going to be going as smooth. But again, for someone who's been very I don't know, but jealous, for one better word, Fast Time Mood is probably going to be looking on with some envy. He didn't qualify. His tag
Yeah.
partner back from injury walks pretty much straight on in.
Yeah, for sure. And I think the other thing to sort of consider is obviously that it seems a bit strange that, it makes sense that from what she did in this match, but obviously Alison wanted to basically left Maggot sort of to go alone because she wanted to do things for herself, and then obviously she teams up with Forwerk, and Forwerk's trying to do stuff
Trying to
for
do
her.
the same thing, yeah.
So it's kind of clever that kind of maybe the grass is greener on the other side. I think for Alison maybe.
Yep.
But yeah, I
Check the
think,
contract.
like you said, there was definitely the that kick early on, which I think maybe hindered and put a bit of a ceiling on the match. But yeah, so Steffi May's getting in. I think she's probably ready to do it. I don't see her going deep in the tournament, but she can certainly do that. And yeah, like you say, Mudo's kind of been sat here, going to be sitting on the side with not much else to do.
See how he takes that. Probably not too well if his behaviour elsewhere is to be seen. When we have the six-man tag, Anil Marek, Robert Trice, and Tristan Archer beating Dennis Jolnick, Shikahiro Irien, Hector Invictus. This one, so one of my pet peeves of wrestling is when someone's a good guy or a bad guy, everything in the past just gets, whitewashed.
Yeah,
And throughout this, you had this in the promo and you had this in the match. Robert Dreisker and Anil Marek just did not want to be around each other. Marek, I guess in the
Marek is
promo,
still threatened.
yeah,
He's still threatened by Dreisker, which is brilliant. And I saw it in there's the pre-show, the pre-match sort of interview segment, and I'm like, oh, this is really good stuff. It's really good stuff. And this will probably be their last interaction for months.
yeah.
I don't see them reacting, but it was such a good callback, and I think if you knew them, you would. It rewarded sort of a keen watcher from the past, and actually later on in the match, obviously the finish of the match was the I can't remember the name of it, but it was basically their combination they used when they were both the academy.
The wheelbarrow cold breaker into the boulder dash.
Yeah,
I don't know what the fancy name they gave. It was basically Blue Thunder Bomb finish, but yeah, it was
yeah,
one of those. Throughout because when I was watching, it's like Marek's not tagging Dreisker. Dreisker doesn't want anything to do with him. Like the spots you could see on the apron where Dreisker was absolutely berating him, like not screaming, get f off, still want to win the match, but you could tell he was getting the digs in despite being on the same team. Absolutely wonderful. I love when, like, say, you're rewarded for watching. It's not a, oh well, they're getting on along just great because they're both bad guys. Fuck that. We've all worked, we've all known people who you get on along with because got mutual friends. Doesn't mean you've got to like them.
and
You can stew away like that.
the other thing is the existence of Amboss is down to the fact that his stupid trainees aren't good enough.
Mm-hmm.
If all of a sudden he was in this match with these stupid trainees, and he's all of a sudden going, oh yeah, do you know what, these lads are pretty close, then Amboss has no reason to exist.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, Lee Bloom's fine. Or no, I just got
Yeah,
it. No, that's not how it should ever have been.
that was very much a that 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 the and there was a little bit of hesitancy in the finish, where obviously he's basically trying to set him up, and he's like, "Come on in, are we going to bloody do this or not?" It's basically what it felt like.
Yeah.
And that was brilliant because it was, as I say, it sort of, it was a nice callback to something that you probably wouldn't notice unless you'd been watching it back then. But
those who watched the Empty Steffies, you got your award there. But your things well, and I
well,
kind of expect,
yeah,
kind of expect this. We got to be doing the old Hardy Boys stuff, which the
I need
gifts out
to
there.
gift. Is it been gift already?
Yeah, direct somebody put it on their Instagram. I
Oh, okay,
think it's on
good stuff.
the yeah. So it's not for gift, but it's like the video clip. So it's him doing the was it the Matt
Jeff
Hardy
Hardy.
one?
It's the
Yeah,
Jeff Hardy.
we did the whole thing halfway through where he's tagged in and you've got there's a Donnelly going Hardy Boys and he is just dumbfounded. And then we go back again, and this time it's Hector screaming it, and they understand. And he, as you do in wrestling, I'll act like it. No, and he does the whole 90s Hardy Boy dance, which at least know what wrestling he was watching 20 years ago, but still now, ironically. But so yeah, I mean, really fun 6-man tag, and yeah, it more than just a throwaway trios match. Got 2 turn block finals. Block A, Icarus beating Maggot again, just under 10 minutes. This one, not too much to it. The end came with Levinel coming out to interfere. Rotation then came out to stop, but all that distraction meant that Icarus was able to roll up Maggot a handful of tights. Post match, everyone fought amongst themselves apart from Icarus, and it looks like I couldn't get a freeway for the shotgun belt at some point over Carat Weekend, which it's fine, but to me it felt like Maggot was in this spot a year ago just as champion, so we really resetting him, or is Levaniel getting a shotgun belt? I don't know. I'm fine with the start with the feud, but it's like, do you take the belt off rotation so quick, or is one a demotion, or is one just running on the spot pretty much?
Yeah, it's the shotgun belt's always kind of been a bit of a holding pattern for some people, and for some people it's a springboard upwards, and for some people it's just kind of a bit of something to do while there's not much else to do. And sometimes it sort of is a big reward for sort of working a long time. So, yeah, I don't feel there's any harm in them three. I mean, at least we're not looking at these three and going, oh, what are they going to be doing this weekend? We kind of at least there's a sensible three. There's a sensible match in there, if you
Yeah,
know what I mean.
it's not just
So,
these names are left in the pot. Here you go, that kind of outing.
yeah, there's a sensible match in those three. So I mean, they're not sticking Tisha in with the rotation. Do you know what I mean? They're sticking people who on the level below, but I think there's quite justifiably in that title picture.
Yeah. Then Block B final, Ilya Bloom beating Yoshi, 12 minutes 18 seconds, and for me, a little bit better from Back to the Roots, but this was the match I was expecting. Obviously, not once in either final, obviously, coming in, but this is the kind of match where Bloom, he'd lost the shotgun belt, could easily, done the whole, downward spiral losing streak thing, but he's, pulled himself back up. Really big win here against the, traveling Noah Star. And I say if Bloom, this is one of those where he'd learned from his mistakes first time around. And again, I don't think Bloom's going to be one of those names who's going to be going too far in the tournament, but you still forget, like, he's in his sophomore year, the Americans call it, second year in.
I
Again,
mean, I don't know how much impact the local promoter has in on these shows,
oh god,
but
yeah,
obviously,
Bielefeld loved him.
well, he is a Bielefeld boy, and it's like he
Oh, that'll
turns
be
into
why.
he turns into Tanahashi wrestling in Bielefeld. If Carat was in Bielefeld, then he'd win it. I think.
And Sebastian will be needing to find bigger venues as well.
Yeah, stick it at the Bentella. Yeah, so it's like yeah, it's always good to it. I do like it when you get like obviously for a while there was obviously the Bobby Guns Hamburg thing, and it's like specific buildings people have streaks in, and I kind of would like it if Bloom was like, you want
The
want
king of the
Bloom to
fallen.
maybe have, yeah, you want Bloom to be like always shit hot in Bielefeld maybe.
I mean, he won the shotgun belt there, so yeah, it would be
Exactly.
be a nice reward. I mean, I don't say always main event, but certainly it's on this form. He's certainly a name you could main event with. Even if it's just for these kind of things. But yeah, back back to his.
Well, he's a popular. He's got his own band and things in Bielefeld, and I dare say that there's probably an element of it makes sense to put him on the main event in
Yeah,
Bielefeld
you've
because
got a true
if
local
he's
star.
if he's in a band, he's a local micro celebrity, I suppose. Should we say? You probably get a bit of local press. I don't know if that is the true, but I suspect there's probably an element of local press. There might him being in the main event might sell 100 tickets to local to mates, or might sell 50 tickets to mates and family, and it might send not saying that's the reason why you do put people in the main event, but I mean it's got to be valuable to book him well in Bielefeld for sure.
Yeah, yeah. I'm just looking through his Instagram now, and going mostly 2 years ago at this point. Debuting against Norman Harris on the old Wrestling Academy live shows back when most were a thing, and yeah, also if you go on his Instagram, that first photo, that meme, oh, look at the little baby there, just looks so mad. I mean, Norman looks so scared in that photo, but yeah, you can tell we've come on leaps and bounds, and yeah, I think it's one of those, everyone's in WXW speaks massively of him.
I will say, obviously, I saw him work heel at Wrestling Cult last year, and he was very good.
So,
And I think that's been a completely unexplored segment for Bloom, but he was very good in Wrestling Cult as a heel. So
give him time. The other good thing as well, and we touched earlier, he is working more than just WXW. You look in his cage match, and he's doing was it Fight Back over in Frankfurt? He's doing was it Central, yeah, Central Wrestling Germany CWG. Over in Niedersachsen. So he's doing more than just WXW, which is always a good thing. He's not just doing the one or two shows a month. So yeah, that explains why he's pardon the pun, blooming. Yeah, it's my dad joke for the episode. I've got to have something, but certainly that means for Carat, we have our final list of 16. Of course, we're going to be back later this month with the full preview. So just running through the names: Igel Blanc, Elia Bloom, Mike DiVecchio, Joseph Fennick Jr., Icarus, Luke Jacobs, Gringo Loco, One Called Manders, Stephanie Mays, Michael Oku, Oscar, Lawrence Roman, Leo Rush, Masato Tanaka, Paige Tahani, and El Hidro de Doctor. News going to screw this up.
El Hidro de Dr. Wagner Jr.
Easy for you to say, and of course, he just won the Global on Crown Championship in Noah early this month.
Yeah, GXC champ, isn't he?
So yeah, we've got quite the motley crew of names there, and we're going to do the first round draw, I suspect, in a few weeks, but some very tantalizing matches possibly in there. I mean, I know they're doing Progress are doing Luke Jacobs and Tanaka on their Thursday show for Carat Weekend. Obviously in London, not in Germany, but yeah, we've got some names there. I think was it Toby, our friend Toby, was saying, maybe Mike D and Masato Tanaka first round.
Oh yeah,
rekindle the old Mike Awesome stuff. I mean, I'd be watching for my hands over chest. They start going for chest, but yeah, we got some really tantalizing first round matches there. I don't think Mike Lockwood won't be the hell away from Mike D again, but see what the luck for draws like.
Yeah, it's say we don't want to go too much into the. We will do our full-on preview before Carat a couple of weeks' time, hopefully. So yeah, look out for that. Is what we're saying.
And before we wrap up, a few bits and pieces. So of course, they haven't done the shotgun vlog yet. We record this Monday. I'll be dropping later in the week. A few notes from the post Back to Roots vlog, though. Sebastian Hackle looks like he's been, written up, but he's been explained away with injury. Reckon he tore his tendons in his left foot early on against Axeman. So, yeah, that's basically him not being around. There was something very ominous from Axeman in his vlog piece. Basically saying, I've got nothing ready for Carat. Could I sneak in if it's an alternate? No, errors, injuries. So, wouldn't surprise me if he's on a first on Matt Friday and they say break a leg.
He could Nancy Kerrigan somewhere, couldn't he?
Yep, well, like I say, they say break a leg. Anyway, some other news bits before we wrapped up. World Tag Team Festival's coming back in October. We knew the dates, October 4th, 5th and 6th. Of course, there's an Inner Circle on October 3rd. We knew those dates, just not what was going to be. That's now been confirmed. The rest of the festival weekend schedule's probably going to be announced around Carat time.
My prayer circle that it wasn't going to be Catch Grand Prix again worked.
Yeah. Well, I think it's probably a giveaway that we're only doing 3 shows rather than a week's worth, but we don't want to tease that. But
I can't believe I thought that might have been a good idea.
it could have been, but I think now it's best left locked away, never to be spoken of again. They've wrapped up the roster for the Wheel of Wrestling Wildcard show, so I'll just give the full names here. We've got Rachel Armstrong, Avatar, Ryan Clancy, Dominic Fisher, Landon Hale, Miles Hawkins, Griffin McCoy, Derek Neal, Deshaun Pratt, Sapphire Reed, Golden Boy Santos, Red Scorpion,
Hey.
Liam Slater, Channing Thomas, Stephen Wolf, and Travis Williams. So you can be getting no matches based on those. And again, those you'd expect to be announced in the coming weeks. WXW now, of course, they did Road to 16 Carat Gold and Dead End Near Live. They've uploaded all of 2014's live events on New WXW now. So I think we're now in the realm of shit that wasn't on Vimeo when that shut down. That was the kind of stuff they took down a year or two back to make up space. Still missing shotguns, but yeah, they're certainly going back in time through the shows. I guess may as well bring this up. I've been doing like 1 show a week with 2015. I'm gonna have to figure out how far behind I'll be when I finish 2015. But some good timing this Friday on the site. We've got the start of 2015's Carat tournament. A couple of dodgy names there, which first time I've come across that in these reviews. But Wade wraps up, mate. Night 3 of 2015 Carat's review starts when 2024 Carat gets going. So couldn't time it better, eh?
Yeah, that's good, man.
And we've got another name off to Japan. So Jacob Crane off to Big Japan Pro Wrestling in the very near future. That pipeline from Germany to Japan continues to flow. Of course,
there's not a more perfect name for Big Japan.
Nope. And I know that he's got that T-shirt going. That you can probably pronounce what's on it better than I can. But following the steps of Tristan Archer, Igel Blanc.
It's quite rude, so I'm not going to say it.
Well, I've already got the explicit tag on. I've sworn enough. But Archer, Igel Blanc, Tempesta, and Takara Leighton Buzzard, names from WXW have gone to Japan last year or so. And by the looks of Jacob's Instagram, he's going to be going for the heavyweight division, which, I know there's a few people suspecting. Yeah, well, not going to be deathmatch champion unless he takes a really weird turn. But I know there's a few suspecting, he's right on that borderline. He's looking to bulk up, and
he's a big lad.
Yeah,
he is a big lad.
I think it's more just do you want to be a heavy junior or a small heavyweight. So we'll see how that goes.
What? Heavyweight and junior, heavyweight and junior heavyweight is more of a stylistic choice than a weight choice, body size choice nowadays. I feel.
Yeah, I mean UK weights as well, but yeah. So he's definitely planning on being along with the big boy. So we'll keep an eye on him once he heads over to Japan. Suspect will be around in some form over Carat weekend. So if you fancy a T-shirt with some swearing and polishing, hit him up the merch table. I guess probably means we're bringing back that whole international superstars bit. I mean, we've already mentioned Oscar and Yuta Nakashima. They're over pretty much split between Rev Pro and WXW for the most part. So we'll see how that goes. But upcoming shows, of course, we mentioned that's the last of the taped stuff for Carat. Before Carat, but we've got February 24th, so just under 2 weeks' time, the event Hall Airport and Over Traveling announced this Axel Tischer against Leah Bloom. Then Ambos's Robert Dreisker and Lawrence Roman against Chikahiro Irie and Paige Tahani. March 2nd, week before, we've got Bad Sacking against the Hubert Arena, Mike DeVecchio against Joseph Fennick Jr. And
obviously for our fans in Switzerland, that is right on the Swiss border. So
very easy to get to and from, not shorter journeys than most.
There we go.
And then, of course, Carat Times, we've got, we'll have a preview next time around, but Inner Circle and Gelsenkirchen sold out. Hit up the secondary market if there is one for that. For Carat itself, you're looking at standing room only for the night. If you want the festival tournament passes, they are starting to go a bit low. So if you're looking to go, jump now is all I'm going to say. And then the matinee shows, plenty of tickets going for that. And yeah, so that's pretty much after Carat. We've got 16 Carat Gold Revenge in Frankfurt on March 23rd. Erfurt's a live show March 24th. Fulda on April 13th. True Colors Dresden on April 27th. And yeah, then we're on the road to the summer break. So yeah, a heck of a lot going on. Say we will be back in a couple of weeks for Carat Preview. But anything before we do the leave and review on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, like, subscribe, and all that. Anything before we disappear for a few weeks, mate?
Nothing to plug as usual. No, nothing to plug at the minute. Sorry, I'm a bit boring at the minute. No, but I just was. Well, I think we've been looking through a bit of a joke, but obviously we discovered we're the fourth biggest wrestling podcast in
Yeah.
Switzerland. Quite nice. We are the second biggest English language podcast in Switzerland for wrestling. The first is Jim Cornette Drive Through, so potentially that's a bit contentious. So maybe we are the number one. But
Current wrestling, yeah.
Yeah, we're being beaten by an Italian podcast, a Jim Cornette's Drive Through. What was the other one? It was a German one, I think.
There's Wrestling Infos, I think.
Oh, Wrestling Info. Oh yeah, well they're good.
Again,
lads.
they're all over directory programming, so
They're good lads as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't mind that. And then obviously it's us, and then we're in front of Eric Bischoff. We're in front of Chris Jericho, Steve Austin, other podcast. We're doing all right in Switzerland. So yeah, Dankeschön and merci beaucoup and grazie mille to all the Swiss listeners. We can be the best Italian language one if you want, because we have said some Italian stuff. So
yeah, squash on top of wrestling, and I just need to learn some Italian. But thanks so much for everyone listening. If you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button. There's going to be a lot coming from us in the coming weeks, and of course, that monstrous back catalogue. Yeah, we've been running 2 years, and that's flown by.
Yeah, we're knocking on 2 years, and I just want to say, like, we do this just because we enjoy it, and we want to put a spotlight on a company that I and Ian we both love very, very dearly. We kind of want to tell the world about it, and all the people who have sort of said they've listened to the show and they've enjoyed it really means a lot. And the best thing you can do is obviously you leave your reviews. That's awesome, but also if you can just tell your friends. Tell them to listen to us, and if they're not listening, people just get them watching WXW. That's all we can ask.
Yeah,
and
we're giving you talk, telling you all about the good matches. WXWnow.com. It's on YouTube.
Yeah.
It's the most accessible it's ever been, and yeah. So again, thanks again, Mike. We'll see everyone in a few weeks for the Carat Preview. See what comes out in the wash. So see you in a few weeks, and cheers.
Cheers.